I guess a lot of you have a curiosity about different things in the spiritual world and the spiritual business, and there's many things from yoga to dance to somatics to qigong to tai chi and massage, and Tantra is what we're talking about this evening. Now, Tantra, I'm sure you have a curiosity about what it is, or you've heard of it. Has anyone ever heard of Tantra before, or experienced it?
No, I wish.
Okay. We will do some, well, you know what, Tantra, when she says she wishes, is not really, there's many different levels of Tantra. You have white Tantra, you have black Tantra, you have red Tantra. And in Tantra, we're not really working, our goal is not sex, and everyone gets confused. I mean, and people kind of shun away from Tantra because, oh, sex, oh my goodness, it's such a bad thing. How did we all get here? You know? So what I'm here to educate you on is to give you some idea that Tantra is really a sacred sexuality. It's a work of art, it's a yoga, and it's a work to teach you how to love yourself, how to love others, how not to judge people. And through a series of exercises, we work in that spiritual practice to teach you how to accomplish this. So basically, it's more or less like behavior work. In one sense, it's physical, it's emotional, it's sensual, it's, it's intellectual. Now in Tantra, what the word means, it means to weave. So we're weaving all the different parts of ourselves, what we're made up of. You know, we have a physical body, we want to make love, we want to exercise. We have a mind, we want to speak, we want to be heard. We have emotions, we feel, we want to feel. So want to be acknowledged for our feelings. So in Tantra, we work all of these different elements into one area, of different types of exercises to show you how you can not only heighten the love for yourself and have better relationships with all kinds of people, especially people that you're in love with in a romantic relationship, but all relationships, and how you can save your relationships to last longer. And then the very last step of Tantra is the sexual part of it, where how can you have great sex, long-lasting love, and love that lasts for a very long time in this day and age without some kind of spiritual practice? How can you, right? People get divorced, they get married, they get divorced. It's just an everyday thing. But there are some people that can stay married for 50 years, like Jay Leno, right? You wonder why people like that can stay married, and especially a man like him in his business. And like Dr. Phil, for example, he's another one. These people have been married. The people I know are married 10 years, that's it. They can go no longer. So what's missing in that? There's a lot of things in our personality that we have to work on, but the real thing is learning how to love yourself so that you can love your partner. And then once you start to learn all these different techniques, you take it into the sexual part. And so the sexual part of Tantra is not really just making love. It's doing all of these other things before you do that so that you can understand your partner. You can heal each other. So Tantra has a way of teaching you how to heal your partner, understand your partner. It also has a lot of elements of letting go of judgment, letting go of your baggage. So teaching yourself how to, once you start to undo all of these layers, then you can open yourself to love. So it's really about the heart, or the sexual heart. But a lot of people get very confused, and the minute they hear the word Tantra, they think tantric sex. Why? Because sexuality is a very big part of expression, and yet we're very inhibited, we're very suppressed, because sexuality is not sex. This is sex, letting your hair down, wearing purple, wearing a green hat, wearing tattoos on your face. That's sex. That's expression. So it's not really in the form of actually, having two bodies together. So what we want to teach people is just how to be liberated in their thinking and be a little bit more open. Now, I've spent 20 years in California, which I still have a place there, which I plan to go back to after this snowy winter. But not now. I've been back home here in Philadelphia the last 6 years. And I find it so inhibiting with the sex word. Like people see my website and they're like, oh, tantric sex, oh, you can't come and do a workshop for us. And I go, what are you reading? I'm educated, I have a master's degree, I'm a sex therapist. What are you reading? Where is your mind? I mean, do you know that one of the biggest degrees right now in the colleges is sex education? So if you're looking for a degree or you want to go to get a master's or a PhD, Widener University is one of them. They're offering, like a lot of these colleges now, this is a new degree, like working with the sex therapy. That doesn't mean you're going to get naked or be doing naked things to people, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you're going to help people to learn how to understand that part of themselves and how to, be more respectful of their partner. So what Tantra teaches you about how to honor the divine in each other. And this is something we're pulling away from in our world, love. And coming back, LA is the city of angels and Philadelphia is the city of brotherly love. I don't really see, I see a lot of people really wanting to get out of that, burst out of that bubble. And it does take a lot of spiritual practice and things. And there's like a lot of things, but in a city, the city that we're in here, you have to sort of go out and look for it. And thank God for meetups, huh? Thank God for meetups, right? I mean, meetups are, gosh, you can really, I know people that just do 100 meetups a week, a month. So, and I'm grateful for that because see, in cities like the West Coast, like California, Arizona, these things are all over the place, like this crystal store. I mean, you just go to Arizona and you'll see them all, you'll just see crystals all over the place, So, what I want to teach you tonight, I do want to do some exercises, and we have a very big group, and it's not really like a yoga studio space, which normally that's what I use to do, the workshops, because we do a lot of movement, we move around, we also do breathing, but we're going to do some things with each other to, just some things with each other to learn about the different tools of Tantra. Now, the tools of Tantra are, one of the main tools is learning how to bond with a partner, whether it be a lover or a friend. The lady at the grocery store, the doctor's office, wherever you are, learning how to bond. And how do you bond? We bond with our eyes. The very first, when you come out of the womb, your mother looks at you and she connects with the eyes. This is bonding. We lose this because we're very, connected to our cell phones. We're very connected to, this whole internet stuff. So what Tantra, the first thing we work with is eye gazing. It's called eye gazing, learning how to look into a partner's eyes so that eventually if you're going to have a romantic relationship and when you get to that point of making love, that you're able to actually make that communication through the eyes. And this is what keeps the love lasting longer because now you're acknowledging your partner, the feelings, there's respect. And in Tantra, after a while, if you start to have a Tantric lifestyle, a Tantric journey, you go beyond this and your lovemaking gets deeper in your relationship. So this is that's not the beginning of it, like the lovemaking, which everyone has this, like, wow, I want to have great love. I want to have the spark there again, or I want to have stronger orgasms, or I want to have a full body orgasm. Breathing, which Tantra is a yoga, we do a lot of breathing. So what breathing does is teach your body how to take this energy from the lower part here, which a lot of this is a lot of Asian things, I'm going to Thailand in August and I'm going to be doing some more studies where you take a lot of your energy and you bring it up. So what you're doing is connecting this energy and bringing the sexual energy, not just for sex, but for everything that you do. It's creative energy. It's chi energy. So when you use this energy to go to work and become successful, whatever your career is, or raise your children with so much passion, or whatever you're doing, it's called Shakti. And it's a Hindu practice, okay? So Tantra comes from India. It's a Hindu practice. We have the Shakti and the Shiva. The Shakti is the feminine and the Shiva is the masculine. And in our bodies, we are making love. The male and female is making love as one all the time. So the goal is to constantly have this balance of giving and receiving of your male and your female. So we all have a male and female, regardless of your sexual preference out there. So when you could be more on your male side or your female side, but you want to balance this out. So when you have a relationship, you usually attract what it is that you're lacking in the balance. I might be a woman that has more male energy and I attract a man who has more feminine energy. Has nothing to do with bisexuality at all, but just to make that clear. But so that's how the opposites attract. So within yourself, when you start to balance your male and female energies out, you start to have a center. You're more balanced in your body, mind, and then weaving all of this together. There's so many parts of Tantra. I mean, so the first thing is eye gazing. The second thing and the most important thing is breathing, and I mean conscious breathing. Now, because it's a yoga, I teach traditional yoga, vinyasa flow. That's not the kind of yoga that Tantra is. Yoga is a Tantra of the senses. Learning how to open your senses up, where you have all these different senses so that you can feel. Vatayana, who invented the Kama Sutra way back in India, he would have these parties where he would encourage people to open up the senses so that romance and sensuality could be more liberated, more experienced at a fuller body level. But then, of course, a lot of different things, it went out of line, we'll say. It went out of line somewhere back then, and it just went by the wayside, way back, way before traditional yoga. Okay, so now, what's happening right now in the world, Tantra is really on the uprise, and it's going to be a word that's going to be out there. I mean, it's like, I was just going to teach another group some stuff, and they said, "Oh, we saw your website. Oh, Tantra. Oh, my website's not even sexy looking." I mean, like, I said, did you read my butt? I said, I have 100 degrees in there. Oh, we can't have Tantra at our place. Oh. So, I mean, I'm really thinking that people are very inhibited and suppressed in their own emotional being. And like you said, really, when you lift your energy, you become sexy. Now, sexy is a big new word right now. Everyone's using this word, Dr. Oz, sexy and healthy, sexy and confident. The gyms are like wellness and sexy. This is all very big now. You know why? They're trying to let people understand, little by little, creep it in that sexuality is not something to be ashamed of, not something to be afraid of, and not something to think of as dirty. It is something to honor and love. It is sacred. And Tantra, we teach you how to be sacred, rather than just go have sex with someone, because we had a sexual revolution. A lot of people lost emotions there. They didn't have coming up in that era, which I did. So what we're teaching people now is how to have this sacredness in love, how to understand and appreciate your partner, honor your partner, and respect your partner, and not to be afraid or ashamed. But to get rid of all that ego stuff, we have to do the work. And the work is breathing and movement, because if you don't undo the layers, armor, which keeps you suppressed because you've had an experience as a child, someone may have looked at you funny or said something to you bad, or mommy scolded you or whatever, which we all have, had some experiences in our lives. And this is the stuff that prevents us from loving in general. And I don't mean just in relationship with a man or a woman opposite sex. I mean just in general, people. So which means that a certain part of you could be living with hate. And the hate internalizes. And when the hate internalizes, disease, of course, can happen. But we spread this in the environment, and then the world, Mother Earth, and that's why a lot of things happen, like, all these bad things that happen around the world, like violence and things like that, because there's not enough love. So it's collective. It is definitely a collective energy. And that's my mission. I've been doing all of this stuff, studying all of this since I was 20 in Philadelphia, and I moved to California. I was 30. I'm 57. I'm back here now. And I find that this has really put me in a place where I can see things, I can be who I want to be. And I can honor myself, and I honor my sexuality. I'm not ashamed of that. But we all have to get rid of these things if you want to have. We're not saying that you need to get rid of everything completely. But what we are saying is that just to make steps in your life to become a little bit more who you are, more connected from your split, because we all have splits. And in Tantra, I teach people how to bring the split together, because when you're cut off here, you're basically not feeling anything. So you could even be having, making love to someone and not feeling it, really, men or women. Or a lot of sexual dysfunction things happen now at a younger age than they did, say, when my father, he's 80, he's probably still having sex, he doesn't have a computer, he doesn't have a phone. I mean, nothing. But I think all of this technology is breaking us away from our motor skills. And that's the senses. And so once we keep the senses alive, which in Tantra, part of the work is called sensate focus, where we're learning how to touch the body without touching the private areas. Just touch. Touch someone with your fullness, with your heart. You know, be tactile, and touch is a very important thing. Of course, they say, you know, a hug a day is like an apple a day, and keeps all the doctors away, right? So that's what they say. And we do melting hugs in Tantra, and hugs to just people. And more and more people are doing that. You know, now I see that out there. You know, you leave work, you hug somebody, which is very important and very healthy. So part of this whole thing, again, bringing the split together, and once we bring the split together, if the body is cut here, the heart is generally not open. Now, we work with what we call chakras, C-H-A-K-R-A-S, and there are seven of them in your body. Any yoga class or any Tai Chi, a lot of those practices all work with the chakras. And in Tantra we do too, because it is part of the same business. And there's one here, you have the lower, and then you have this one. The lower is the root. So the root is more like helps you to get grounded. These are, of course, they're intangible, so a medical doctor would say, what are chakras? I mean, you can't even touch them. Well, really, it's basically the autonomic nervous system in medical terms. And I do some other work, because I'm also in the medical business too, and where you are working straight up here, but you're working with your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system and balancing that out. So in Tantra, we work with what we call an energy line. So here, and then here's your sexual chakra, and then here is your power. So this is an area of your body. If you were to be grieving or someone hurt you in some way, usually people feel it here. And then there's this up here, the heart. And the heart and the pelvis we want to bring together. Now the women usually have the heart open and the men are more open here, generally. We like to get them in their hearts. Women, don't we? Of course, so they can love us back without giving just the physical. So once you start to do that, and then when the women start to hear and the men, they start connecting, the sexual heart becomes one. So your goal, and then you move up to the voice. So a lot of us have hidden voices, you know, in sexuality or anything. You ever see someone playing tennis? Right now we're in the French Open. They scream when that's an orgasm. That's an orgasm. An orgasm is not something you have in bed with sex. It is, but there's so many other ways to have orgasms if your body is free, if your mind is free. You don't have to be, walking around down the street naked to be free. You just be free. Like, I'm really free. My family thinks I'm really out there. I'm like totally California. They're like, no, shh, don't say nothing. You're at my party. Like this are very closed, and it's very unhealthy to be closed because it creates heart disease and everything else. And being free is just a matter of believing in yourself and knowing who you are and being connected and being confident in just the person that you are, not trying to be anything else. So when you, here we come up to the voice, the hidden voice. Yeah, so the voice is the expression in sex, in anything, in a sport, racquetball. It's the orgasm, okay? And then we come up here to the third eye. So this balances out, the brain. And then you come up to the very top chakra, which it all kind of discharges. So you're charging the body to discharge. When you discharge, you're starting to remove the negative from the body, and you're bringing in positive. So it's a lot of work, but the workshops are wonderful. I've been teaching a lot of workshops for years, and I love doing the breathing. I love doing movement. We move our pelvis to teach people how to be a little freer, sort of like a belly dance, to be a little bit freer in their body. Because if you're not free in your body, you're really not free in your mind. So the body is where the freedom begins. And the liberal thinking, you don't have to be, out on a limb. I mean, hanging on some limb somewhere. You just got to be a little bit more accepting of yourself, and the world gets better. The violence decreases in the world. The more closed people are, it's collective. The more the hate out there. There was a thing, I forget what city it was, I saw on Facebook. I don't know if it was Kansas or they allow guns, but they didn't allow, it was like funny, it was really weird. They didn't allow sex toys, like you weren't allowed to buy them in a store or something. I don't know what city this was. Somebody sent me this on Facebook. And I thought, and the guns, that's another way of expression. If somebody picks up a gun, it means they have suppression. Anybody that can pick up a gun and shoot someone is closed here. It's called psychopathic. I'm a psychotherapist, so it's psychopathic personality, which means that you cannot have feeling here to kill somebody. You kill somebody, you don't have feeling. You don't know what you're doing. But if you have the feeling here, so that's a form of expression that's hidden. So within Tantra, all we're teaching you is love. How to love people. People. There's a lot of hate and there's a lot of judgment. And if it's not internalized, it goes back and forth. It goes in between you and it goes to somebody else. You judge yourself, you talk about yourself, and then you project it onto others. And this doesn't make, but this, you're all out here, so you all want to learn new things and you want to make yourself better. I mean, isn't that what life's about? I mean, I love making myself better, going to the gym and anything I can do to make myself better. I don't care about age or anything. Anything to make me better, anything to learn. Because I think that is what youth is. That's youth. That's a youthful mind. And that's what Tantra has done for me, making me feel that way. So, any questions right now? Anybody have comments or questions or anything that they think Tantra is, or what their expectations were about Tantra, or what they thought, or why don't we just open it up for that? And we're going to do some exercises too. Anybody wants to say anything?